Hey there, Patrick Brewer here, the Zero Emission Vehicle Fleets Advisor for the Clean BC Go Electric Fleets program. I know a lot of you are going to be able to relate to today's presenter. Stephen Wiebe is a fleet manager at the District of Saanich. Let's hear what he has to say.
Welcome everyone. I'm here to present on electric vehicle program implementation for small and medium fleet organizations. Most of the content reflects the efforts of ground level operational managers and supervisors who have minimal corporate or engineering staff resources to assist them. The presentation focuses on industry best practices and how Saanich has been able to accomplish EV implementation with limited resources. Before we start, I also want to thank Clean BC Go Electric for providing me the opportunity to share my experience and knowledge, and I hope you find value in the information I'm about to share. My name is Stephen Wiebe, and Vehicles and Mechanical Aptitude is a family business. My grandfather was a building mover using ingenuity to solve a variety of mechanical problems, and my father was a heavy-duty mechanic. Now I've carried on the tradition with a career specializing in fleet. My areas of expertise include vehicle purchases, which consists of development of specifications, duty cycle analysis, life cycle costing, quality control, factory inspections, and determining operational needs such as manuals, toolings, training, etc. It also includes fleet support, maintenance engineering, training, and shop audits. In my current role, I'm an operational manager focusing on safe work practices, WorkSafe BC requirements, staff orientation, training, ERP systems for vehicle maintenance data, and other tasks required to keep staff safe and vehicles operating. I had previous work experience for a large fleet organization in the transit bus industry. There, I was fortunate to have a lot of corporate support and resources for trials, developing maintenance standards, and plenty of funding and time to focus on implementation of new technology. This is quite the contrast with my current experience at Saanich, where there is significantly less support and resources for fleet work. Here I have to be much more creative to move projects forward and initiatives. The District of Saanich, who I work for, is a small municipality on Vancouver Island, British Columbia in Canada. It's approximately 20 kilometers across with hilly terrain and a mild climate. From a fleet perspective, this makes for a lot of short trips. This duty cycle will impact how we approach our EV plan, which will make it different than yours. Saanich is also highly committed to environmental through its vision, climate, targets, and daily work. Saanich's fleet consists of approximately 250 pieces of equipment. These include Class 7 automated garbage trucks, Class 7 dump trucks, aerial trucks, hydro excavators, backhoes and equipment, Class 3 to 5 pickup trucks, and of course electric cars. These vehicles have either diesel, gasoline, or electric propulsion. Our maintenance shop has 8 mechanics operating 2 shifts and dedicated parts staff. Similar to most other small municipalities, we have the struggles of resources including IT infrastructure, resources, facility condition, and keeping staff current in an ever-changing world. Saanich is also learning to cope with change, as many long-term employees with 30 or more years are now retiring and new employees are filling those roles. Saanich was a relatively early adopter of electric vehicles. I'm not going to go through all the key points on this timeline, but I want to highlight a few of them, including the 2018 to 2020 funding model change. I can't stress how important this is, and I'll go into more details about it in a later presentation. In both 2018 as well as 2020, there were level 2 charging stations that were installed with grants. This is a limited funding for most municipalities, so grants go a long ways, but it can be quite administratively burdensome as well. I was thankful to have the support of our sustainability department for administering these grants. Also drawing your attention to 2019 and 2020, I've noted some university projects. Universities are an excellent resource for free technical trials. The same can be said for any colleges or other post-secondary education. In my experience, These are some of the key criteria for building an electric vehicle program. Personally, I'm an advocate for developing a plan on how to implement electric vehicles rather than just purchasing some of them and reacting to issues as they arise. That said, I realize that most of you watching this webinar will already have EVs, but you may not have some of the other components, including a capital financial plan, technician training, a plan for how to use your charging infrastructure efficiently, true range requirements of the vehicles, or analysis of some of the other technology available. All of these items, including the list on the slide, are some of the tasks you should really be thinking about to ensure continued success of your EV program. In my opinion, funding is one of the most important starting points for large-scale adoption of electric vehicle programs. With EVs, there is a fundamental shift in budget from operating expenses to capital expenses, and developing a plan for this is quite important. How are you going to factor this increased capital cost into budgets and track your true costs? Are chargers and electricity costs part of your total EV program cost, or are they part of a facility cost, or do those costs live elsewhere? These are just some of the questions you may want to think about for an EV program. At Saanich, I reviewed our capital funding program and began advocating for the need to change 3 years ago. 2021 is the first year of a full implementation of a new funding model. Capital and operating cost values in this slide are based on Saanich experience, but your situation may be different for some of the following reasons. You might have regional differences in incentives or grants, your duty cycles may impact your maintenance costs, and your electrical grid infrastructure may be constrained in a different manner. Some consider stakeholder buy-in just as important as funding in order to get an electric vehicle program off the ground. At Saanich, I don't have the resources to run our own trials and gather our own data, so I rely heavily on other organizations and their programs. Some of the info I request from them includes sharing data on their trial, their successes, lessons learned, and areas I should focus on to make implementation seamless. If you're a smaller organization like Saanich, I recommend making good contacts and building relationships to get this info from those organizations that are leading the way with new technology. This will provide your stakeholders with the information they need to buy into this program. In municipalities with limited resources, the charging and infrastructure requirements will impact your EV program. Things to think about include, does the building have electrical capacity for EVs? Do you actually need a level 2 or a level 3 charging station? If you require these, plan ahead, as they will require procurement and contractors or staff to install. In an earlier slide, I had mentioned that I collaborated with the University of Victoria. This was a mutually beneficial way of finding the resources to help me complete a project as well as give back to the community. For this initiative, I submitted a project proposal request to a 4th-year joint industry project class, and one of the project teams selected it as a preferred project. They did an amazing job and modeled Saanich's fleet as 100% electric. They were able to provide an estimate on total power requirements, number of required charging stations, and conducted market research to find some unique products that I was not aware of. For EV maintenance support, if you only have a small number of vehicles, it makes sense to have a local dealership provide service or repair to any of the high voltage components. However, as your fleet grows, you'll want this knowledge and experience in-house. Even if not providing service to high voltage components, mechanics should have an awareness of how the systems function and how to disable or isolate high voltage components. It's also important to recommend safety equipment, including shock-resistant gloves, rescue hooks, and safety footwear with shock-resistant outsoles. Saanich has worked with the local college to advocate for the need for electric vehicle training. The college has been very receptive and is expecting to be able to provide a training program this year. If you don't have a local college with a program, consider sending a mechanic to a training program in another city, or at minimum, finding an online safety awareness training program for them. While a small organization won't have the same success stories as Amazon or UPS or other large fleets, we do still have our own that we can be equally proud of. Saanich has had several success stories for its EV program. Working with a local university and contributing to the development of these local students is just one of them. Another notable one is overcoming the desire for public works staff to have big trucks. Big trucks are a common theme with construction and trades workers and has been a tough barrier to overcome while still maintaining good culture and EV buy-in. We did it though, and we replaced our highest mileage per year pickup truck with an electric car. And the staff seemed to like it. So what's next for Saanich? The next steps is to work towards medium and heavy duty EVs. I've been persistent with several manufacturers and distributors. I want to trial their vehicles, and my sales pitch has been that it's an opportunity for a joint trial between the manufacturer, Saanich, and the University of Victoria. The plan is to collect and share performance data. So far, I haven't been successful, but there's extremely limited market availability of these EVs, and I have to be creative to set Saanich apart from the rest of the businesses and organizations requesting trials. While we're not able to immediately purchase all vehicles as EVs, and to reduce our carbon emissions and climate goals, there are other ways we are working to reduce emissions. While it's not necessarily EV related, I wanted to mention it. We've just submitted a recommendation to our council for the use of renewable diesel as an interim solution until more EVs are available. This initiative is led by our sustainability team, and Fleet has been required to provide technical advice and support. It's a plug-and-play fuel for diesel and meets the same fuel quality requirements as regular diesel. Renewable diesel is not to be confused with biodiesel, which does not meet the same standard fuel quality requirements. Through the BC Low Carbon Fuel Standard, though, renewable diesel provides almost the same carbon emission benefit as an electric vehicle. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. I wanted to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen and hope you found it valuable for your own EV program. I recognize I didn't go into a high degree of detail for much of what was presented. So if you have any questions, please connect with Clean BC Go Electric, who will be able to forward your questions and connect us. I wish you the best of luck with your own EV program. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Stephen. I think you took the audience on a great journey here on fleet electrification. You also made some great topic suggestions for future videos. And if anyone in the audience has any suggestions they want to see for future videos, please get in touch with me, fleetsadvisor@pluginbc.ca. And as always, if you want to electrify your fleet and you want to take part of the Clean BC Go Electric Fleets program, please get in touch. We're happy to help you.